So I've been working on the program a lot since the last video. You can see it looks really more confusing. So originally it was all running through the HS Flow Theory node, but the more investigation I do into the CV computer visualization library, the more I find that things like the frame sub that I talked about last time has it all built in, so it can do more while using less. So at the moment I've still got in the original information with some extra if statements just so I can see the values, but as you can see with my note here, I think I may actually remove it because I've moved on and I've been able to add something called this patch here, which is activity monitor. So what this does is it's very similar to what we had down here with the flow, is it breaks down excuse me, the movement within the frame, but by comparing the two previous frames on top of each other, it can give us a more direct value. So what I have over here is it takes our input video and then it is split into three sections. So we've got 1, 2, 3. You can't see them at the moment because I've loaded it from a previous example and it saves the areas I drew, but it doesn't show the colors. I'll see if I can get an example of that later. But what it's doing is, so in the three areas we've got left, middle, right, you can see it's filling values into a graph, a spreadsheet essentially. And then by breaking down those values, which has a maximum of 255, so we need to do a bit of cutting to get the right values, I'm able to get middle, left and right activity. So if I raise my left hand and wave it, because the video's not been inverted yet, you can see the activity on the right side of the screen is, well, it gives me a solid figure. It's not got any defined meaning, but it's something that I can work with. And the same for the right, or the left in this case. And then obviously my face moving in the middle is causing the middle to give us a big value. But it means I'm going to be able to take this and not only determine whether someone's moving left or right, but also use it to work out the velocity at the same time. So it means that I can do everything with one node in this one patch rather than having 1, 2, 3 sections. It's just a lot cleaner. As well as that, I've started to develop what I've called the color picker. So this is what's actually going to send the color that we want to choose to the lights. So if I open that up, it doesn't have any inputs going to it yet because I've not worked out how I'm going to drive them from the functions, but what happens is it's got a nice feature built in called slide, which is essentially a smooth motion. Because the problem I was finding when I was doing early testing is that I had an input coming in, so I wrote these down. So for example, green, the neutral color is 74. And when we move to that, wrong one, 74, when we move to that it would just jump. Same for blue, which is 162, and red, which is 0. It was just jumping between them, so it was an instant change. By bringing in the slide function, it means that the LEDs will scroll through them. So if someone comes in, it's in its neutral green and it goes to blue because they're walking really fast, it will smooth up to that. It will give us a smooth motion. And the same if it goes from being blue to red quickly, it will scroll over to it rather than just instantly switching. So it's a much nicer, it's a very little piece of code, but it's a very nice function. It gives an overall better experience for the user. At the moment, I am working on updating, well, I'm trying to take these nonsensical values and turn them into something that means that when someone enters, when someone leaves, work out the movement, because I talked about it in the Tumblr, but I don't think I'm going to look at left and right as different colors. It's going to be whether someone's just moving fast, moving slow, or standing still. It gets very complicated to be able to differentiate between people in such a small space. The next video I will hopefully come back and have the ability, I'll have withdrawn values, I'll be able to make the decision on what color it should be. So hopefully see you soon.